I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, today we're reading from the book of 1 Kings, chapter 9. Let's focus on verses 4 through 6. Now, if you walk before me as your father David walked in integrity of heart and in uprightness to do according to all that I have commanded you, and if you keep my statutes and judgments, then I will establish the throne of your kingdom over you, over Israel forever, as I promised David your father, saying, you shall not fail to have a man on the throne of Israel. And here's the last word, but. And we should focus on that word. Years ago, while I was having lunch with a pastor friend, he nonchalantly mentioned the time when he got shot. And this kind of came as a shock to me because at that time in my life, I don't know that I had met anyone who had ever been shot, much less one who lived to tell about it and was a pastor. But actually the story was sort of comical as much as it was tragic. And when my friend was in junior high, he and a buddy found a .22 rifle cartridge in his father's desk drawer. And they decided that they would go to the garage and start hitting it with a hammer. And then, of course, eventually, what did you see? Blam, there's a gunshot. My friend gets shot. I mean, after all the instructions about staying away from guns, those boys had no idea that the pain of getting shot lies less in the rifle and solely in the bullet. And nobody could say that Solomon wasn't warned about a bullet to come because the Lord told him precisely what the penalty for spiritual infidelity would be. You know, God is really kind, isn't he? I mean, he spells it all out. He warns us clearly so that we will understand the urgent need for faithfulness. And God hasn't changed. The New Testament book of Hebrews scares the stew out of us if we read it closely. I mean, you add it all up to God's grace and mercy because the result of that combination ensures the disciplined safety of God's people. So in today's chapter, the Lord, through Solomon's dedication prayer, authorizes the temple as a conduit of his grace, where Israel will have access to his presence. And then God assures Solomon that the king will enjoy Davidic-style blessing so long as he lives a Davidic-like life. But the sobering part of God's message is clear. There is a high cost for apostasy. Unfaithfulness will bring loss. Israel will lose its territory, will lose the throne, and eventually the temple that they were dedicating even in that moment. You see, only a fool would flirt with faithlessness. Of course, fools like us. So let today's chapter encourage us to stay humble before you stumble, as we say in Memphis. Get a checkup from the neck up so you don't get tore up from the floor up. And never stop seeking God's word with fearful respect, knowing that all we are and all we have are because of God's faithfulness, and that should empower ours. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. You know, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people just like you. And yes, we need your monthly support. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Another way to help is to tell people about us, right? You can share these podcasts with friends and family, post them on your social media. Of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.